Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my updated and refreshed Sniper Infernalist, which for Endgame POE 2, I think this is unequivocally the best build I have ever made. As always, I will cover every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now what you're looking at right now is a fully juiced, maxed mod T16 map. So that's maximum modifiers, it's also valved, and it's a juiced up boss map that we are playing. And right now I'm using 13 snipers, flame wall, SRS, double curse, double offering. And we are just gonna absolutely tear through this map. I really wanted to juice a map to the absolute maximum modifiers and tier, just so you could see what snipers are capable of. And I really didn't plan on making another build guide for Path of Exile 2, but now that I've done the tier list, now that I've tested every single minion, yesterday on Twitch, I was playing this, and everybody kept asking me over and over again, do you have a build planner? Have you actually made this? And I said, no, since we're done testing now, I just wanted to put together what I think is the best of the best, and this is what I came up with. So after putting it all together last night, tweaking things this morning, I decided, all right, I will put out probably a final build guide until we get a major update. So this build is very simple. We have taken double aura, so blasphemy with enfeeble and flammability. It's too much spamming trying to use double offerings with gas arrow, with putting curses out there, with flame wall. So basically what we do is we run around, pretty simple. You spam flame wall. If you need added damage, you have access to double offerings, and you have access to the sniper's gas arrow, which gets ignited and explodes when you shoot it on the flame wall. That's a very simple build. It's got good clear speed, it's got good damage. We are in mind over matter with Eldritch Battery, so I have broken 5,000 mana on the build with 777 mana per second. So we have a ton of mana regen, we have a ton of mana, continuing to work on our survivability. And what's great about the build is I feel like this is just me guessing that Energy Shield is likely going to be reeled in a little bit. We are not using Energy Shield on this build because all that is getting transferred with Eldritch Battery. So I also feel like the build is decently future-proof, even though, you know, you never really know. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, again, max modifiers T16 map, because it was valved, just tearing through these rare enemies. What I'm going to do is there is a boss on this map, so I will show you that boss fight. And then yesterday on stream, we fought a Citadel boss with this build. I've tweaked it a little bit since the Citadel build, since showing that off, but I think it'll show you just what's capable of skeletal snipers. Let's start with the first boss fight, the Black Crow. And what do you know? It literally has the worst possible modifier, but at least it'll give you a good idea. It literally has Siphon's mana on it, which is we hate that modifier. Obviously, mind over matter. If we don't have any mana, we cannot stay alive. But either way, let me show you what we can do even with that terrible modifier. So this is a fully juiced T21 map boss, the Black Crow. This fight has 3 different phases. So he's got his bell. We got to let him run to the next area. Try and get all our minions in this spot. And we got some of them. All right, well, there we go. This should be interesting. This is a very small area, so it's hard to stay away. We're just going to see if we could just nuke him right here in the middle. And he is stunned. He's dead. He's stunned. We're going to kill him before he comes back. Done. Okay, let me show you the Citadel fight from yesterday. This is me streaming.
Chilling frost.
You are dead. So now let's break down the skills for our sniper build. I'll talk about the skill and I'll talk about the supports that I'm using. Now for my scepter right now, I currently have discipline on it. You could use discipline, you could use malice, you could use skeleton warrior. They are all good. Discipline is giving my skeletons blue feet, basically more survivability with energy shield. And on here I have clarity on it, which is 30% mana regen. For this build, if it was easy to swap to a +5 minion scepter, I would likely use Skeleton Warrior for just some extra melee minions to back up the snipers, but Malice or Discipline would work as well. Looking at our summon Infernal Hound, it is currently level 30 and 6 linked because we are over level 90. We have Meat Shield for more life. We have Fire Exposure, which is just supporting the snipers and SRS. We are maiming enemies, blinding enemies, and culling enemies. Summon Infernal Hound is a great minion. It's free, it doesn't cost spirit, and gives us some damage reduction. Moving over to our damage dealers, we currently have 13 skeletal snipers, level 29, 6 linked. We are using Heft for multiplicative physical damage, 30%. We are using Fire Infusion for 25% damage as extra fire. We are using Feeding Frenzy for 30% multiplicative. We are using Scatter Shot, so they shoot extra projectiles, and we're taking Tempo for boosted attack speed. Now, if you want some added CC, you could move attack speed out and put in Pin, and your snipers will sit back and pin enemies, which makes them immobilized. If you like them having a CC, you can always take that option. Moving down to Raging Spirits, we have Immolate, which is 30% extra fire. Elemental Focus for multiplicative elemental damage, Minion Mastery, and Fire Mastery. Our Raging Spirits are currently level 31, and these are an awesome minion, only cost 30 spirit, and you could generate 10 of them. Moving down to Flame Wall, this is how we actually make our Raging Spirits. On here we have Arcane Tempo for higher cast speed. I recommend mobility so you don't have as big a movement penalty. And then we're taking Spell Cascade and Fortress. So that way you're making 3 of them and they're in a circle. It just covers a lot more radius. That way when the snipers are shooting their projectiles, it makes sure it travels through the flame wall, ignites the arrows so that they do extra damage. We are spec'd into double offerings. We're using Pain Offering and Bone Offering. For Pain Offering, we have Font of Rage to enrage our minions, Expanse for Area of Effect, Elemental Resistance for our army, and Persistence so that it stays up longer. For Bone Offering, we're using Font of Blood and Font of Mana, which is going to give us mana and health regen, Inspiration for less costs, and Execute for multiplicative damage at low life. Last but not least, Blasphemy, and I continue to change this skill over and over again. I don't like having to have tons of skills that you have to spam over and over again, so I've taken Blasphemy and we are using Enfeeble and Flammability with double increase area with Magnified Effect and Ritualistic Curse. It's going to give you 90% more to your area of effect. And ultimately, as you could see, running around here, I have Flammability and Enfeeble, the green and orange auras around me, and the blue aura, which is Discipline. So it does cost a ton of spirit, but running it this way, you just never have to worry about spamming double offerings, double curses, and your flame wall. Literally, you run around, you cast your flame wall, and when you need the added damage, you drop your offerings. Now, the question comes up, don't you want some storm mages? Don't you want some CC? Don't you want to shock enemies? What about your clerics? If you have a ton of spirit, if you have true end game gear, you could add a cleric or two, you could add in shock mages, but for me, snipers are our damage dealer. And with us spending so much spirit on our auras, for me, it did not make sense in my testing. So we literally just go max snipers. But if I had a little more spirit, I would definitely add a couple clerics. Those are the skills. So now let's break down the passive tree. At time of recording, I am level 92, and we're going to start with our ascendancy, which is of course Infernalist. Now the first 2 points you want to take is your loyal Hellhound. You get a free 6 link, it doesn't cost spirit, and it's going to give you 20% DR. It is an absolutely amazing minion. You then want to come to the left and get Altered Flesh, and the first resistance you want to max is Fire Res because 20% of Cold and Lightning is taken as fire. You then want to come straight down here and get Will. This is going to give you a boost to your overall spirit, more minions, and more you can do, but it's going to reserve 25% of your life. Now, your last 2 points, you kind of got some options. You could boost your maximum mana, you could boost your maximum life, or you could take Gaze. Gaze is going to reserve an additional 25% life, but further boost your maximum mana. At time of recording, we are now over 5,100 mana, so I've decided to go this route and really just lean into as much mana as humanly possible. And what's crazy is that if you get lucky and get some uber drops, especially around rings, you can get as much as an additional 40% to your maximum mana. So you could take that 5,000 to 6,000, even 7,000 mana, depending on your gear. Okay, level 92. Here is the full passive tree. Try and get it in a way where you can get a screenshot if you'd like. It comes as far as the left as this jewel, as high north as this node up here, as far as to the right, and you can see pretty much all the way down. So this is the full passive tree. Now, what you want to do is I first focused on revive. So you want to come up here, grab some mana regen, get all your minion nodes, come down here and snag living death. This makes it where your minions have 15% more health and revive 15% quicker and boost your maximum mana. You then want to come to the right and snag this cluster here. It's very close to the start, and this is going to also boost your revive time, reduce life or increase maximum life, and movement speed and attack speed. So it's a nice little cluster for while you are leveling. You then want to come to the left to these nodes and snag Relentless Dead. Minions revive 25% faster. Again, when they die, they pop up quicker. You then want to come north straight up here and snag this node, Lord of Horrors. Minions have 12% reduced reservation costs. If they cost less, that means you can make more. Now, there is a ton of awesome nodes on this tree. Again, I can't cover all of them, but I will tell you the ones that are very important. Once you're into endgame and you have decent gear, you want to go mind over matter. This makes it where all the damage is taken from your mana and not your life. Well, it comes from your mana, then it comes from your life. You then want to come over here and snag Eldritch Battery. This is going to transform all of your energy shield into mana. So if you have 2,000 energy shield, now you have 2,000 mana, which helps support mind over matter. We are also using double curses in this build, so you definitely want Whispers of Doom. This is the only way where you could actually apply a secondary curse. Now, on this passive tree, we have tons and tons of mana regen. So on here, I am currently over 750 mana regen per second. That way, when we do get hit on our mind over matter, the mana goes down and it pops back up quickly. And a good way to counterbalance the 50% less mana recovery rate on mind over matter is this node right here, Arcane Blossom, which is 15% mana recovery, and you got a ton of mana regen nodes as well. You also got a good cluster on the left here. This is maximum life for minions, elemental resistance for minions, and maximum damage. So that is kind of the overall tree. On here we have critical strike chance for minions, critical strike chance for minions. We do use double offerings, so it's only 3-point investment to boost the area of your offerings and 40% more minion damage when you have bone and pain up. But all in all, this is the tree. I continue to tweak it over and over again, and it feels like it's in a really good spot. So now let's break down the gear. I just want to say right at the beginning, there's nothing required for this build. You don't got to go get this scepter, or these gloves, or this ring. There is some best in slot stuff, but right now, pushing all content the game has with the most juiced possible maps, we are using all rare gear. So there is some good uniques out there, but they are not required, and I'm going to show you what you want to do. Now, right off the bat, your scepter, your helmet, and your amulet can give you plus 10 to minion levels, okay? So you've got, if you have a maxed out gem at level 20, you can go right to level 30, which is crazy. My scepter right now has plus 5 to minion skills. It's got spirit on it. It's got life regen, and it's got mana regen. It's a very expensive scepter, but it does have plus 5 minion skills on it. If you look at my helmet, you will see here, energy shield, max life, max mana, plus 2 to minion skills, and double resist. Looking at my amulet, this is maximum mana, spirit, and +3 to minions. This also has an implicit for mana regen, and we took 2-pronged attack for 25% boost to minion damage. And what's nice, this also has 16% of damage is recouped as mana, just for an extra way to get our mana back up. So those are 3 items that will help you and just give you a huge boost. Levels to your minions give boost to attack speed, life, and damage. It really makes a big difference. Now, when you talk about spirit, your scepter can give you spirit. Your body armor can give you spirit. You will see here I have 663 to energy shield, spirit, int, and double resistance. Also in the implicit, we have mana regen. Your amulet can give you spirit, and there is a unique shield that can give you spirit as well. Now, me really leaning into mana, I made the decision to go a focus. This focus has 355 energy shield, which transfers to mana, 155 max mana, int, fire, and mana regen. So if you want to go the mana route, you can go a focus. If you want to go like the survivability block route, you could go a shield, or you can use a unique shield that actually gives you spirit on it as well. All right. Now, looking at the rings, max life, max mana, int, fire, mana regen. This ring is unbelievable. 264 to mana and 94% mana regen. My other ring is not as good, but max life, max mana, int, and mana regen with a cold implicit on it. Gloves, energy shield, max life, max mana, rarity, dex, and cold, just because we need a little bit of the dex stat. Belt, max life, max mana, extra charm slot, strength, and cold res. And boots, energy shield, movement speed, max mana, lightning, chaos, and regen. The regen is not very good. So that is my gear. We've definitely spent some divines on some of this stuff, but nothing crazy expensive, especially if you got your stuff early. So it shouldn't be too hard to gear. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new and improved sniper build guide for Infernalist? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I can do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Of course, only if you think I've earned it. Check out the Patreon. It is the best way to support, and join the Discord. We're approaching 4,500 members. We do a game giveaway every 2 weeks just for being a member of the community. We do movie nights, game nights, community events, races. It is an awesome place to hang out. Check out the Discord. It is also linked in the description. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.